Listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you is not a soft whisper, not a gentle suggestion. It is a spiritual alarm bell ringing across your entire destiny. Something is shifting around you right now. Something powerful is waking up inside you. And if your spirit feels stirred, if your heart feels like it's beating faster, it's because God is declaring over your life, buckle up. Everything you've been waiting for is starting now. This is not a season for hesitation. This is not a season for doubt. This is the moment where God interrupts your story with a divine acceleration so intense, so precise, so undeniably supernatural that nothing in your past will be able to explain what is about to happen next. You may not see it yet with your physical eyes, but your spirit senses it. Something unseen is shifting in the atmosphere. You can feel the rumbling. You can feel the momentum. You can feel that quiet but powerful pull, something calling you forward, something stretching you, something whispering, prepare yourself. You are about to go where you have never gone before. This is not imagination. This is not wishful thinking. This is divine preparation. God does not stir you without purpose. God does not awaken desire without direction. God does not ignite expectation without manifestation on the way. For years, you have been praying. For months, you have been waiting. For nights, you have been wrestling with questions no one else could understand. But God has heard every silent cry, every hidden prayer, every exhausted whisper of your soul. You are not stepping into random change. You are stepping into a prepared moment. A moment God has already aligned, structured, and ordered for your life. And when God says, buckle up, it means you are entering a chapter that will move faster than your logic, exceed your understanding, and surpass your own plans. God is not asking for your permission. God is declaring your elevation. This is the hour where God takes the slow places of your life and accelerates them. This is the hour where the same situations that once resisted you suddenly open for you. This is the hour where the doors that stayed locked for years finally swing wide with a force that only God can command. And when God moves, everything around you must move. When God speaks, everything around you must listen. When God decides that your time has come, there is no force in existence that can delay what has already been appointed for your life. You have been through seasons where nothing made sense. Seasons where you wondered if your prayers were echoing back at you. Seasons where you questioned if you had misheard God, misread the signs, or miscalculated your direction. But let me tell you something that will shatter every doubt left in your spirit. Delay is not denial. Delay is preparation. Delay is positioning. Delay is God protecting you from stepping into blessings prematurely. When God says now, it means your character is ready. Your spirit is ready. Your discipline is ready. Your vision is ready. Your strength is ready. God does not unlock doors when your spirit is unprepared. God unlocks doors when your destiny is ready to carry the weight of what is coming. And make no mistake, you are stepping into something heavy, something massive, something that will not only lift you, but redefine you. The next move God is making in your life is not small. It is not subtle. It is not marginal. It is a shift, a divine shift, a life-altering shift, a shift that will shock every person who doubted you and strengthen every person who believed in you. A shift that will bring clarity to the questions that tormented you. A shift that will remind you why you had to survive what others did not even notice you were battling. You see, God does not give easy journeys to those carrying powerful destinies. God stretches the ones chosen for greatness. God refines the ones entrusted with influence. God strengthens the ones meant to break generational patterns. And you have been in a refining season. A season where God removed, reshaped, reorganized, and redirected aspects of your life that you didn't always understand. But that refining was not punishment, it was preparation. You were not being broken, you were being built. You were not being abandoned, you were being aligned. There is a reason your spirit has been restless. There is a reason you felt like something big was coming. There is a reason your intuition has been louder than usual. The wait was not wasted. Your tears were not forgotten. Your struggle was not overlooked. God has been arranging a transformation so powerful that when you look back, you will realize every hardship was necessary. Every closed door was strategic. Every delay was intentional. Every loss was divine protection in disguise. God is telling you now, get ready, because what I'm about to release in your life requires spiritual seatbelts. This is not a small shift. This is not a calm transition. This is a breakthrough level movement. The kind of a movement where your life moves from stagnant to unstoppable. The kind of a movement where what used to block you begins to bless you. The kind of a movement where the same place that once rejected you now becomes the place that celebrates you. When God releases a shift, nothing can stand against it. Not people, not circumstances, not opinions, not fear, not doubt. When God commands movement, everything must rearrange itself. This is the chapter where God lifts you from the shadows into visibility. This is the chapter where God turns your private battles into public victories. This is a chapter where the spiritual weight you carried quietly become the testimony of your resilience. People do not know what you endured. They do not know how much you fought. They do not know how many nights you stayed awake, wrestling in silence. But God saw it all. God counted every tear. God measured every sacrifice. God watched every step. And now God is saying, it's time. It's time for the blessing that matches the battle. It's time for the reward that matches the resilience. It's time for the breakthrough that matches the burden. And when God releases this new season, understand something deep. You will not rise slowly. You will rise suddenly, unexpectedly, unexplainably. People will say, how did this happen? And all you will be able to say is, God did it. Because what is coming is not something human effort could produce. What is coming is not the result of strategy alone. What is coming is not something you can explain with logic. What is coming is spiritual, divine, supernatural, God-driven, God-commanded, God-orchestrated. You are entering a moment where God will elevate you beyond your qualifications, where God will open doors you did not even know existed, where God will connect you with people who carry the keys to your next level, where God will turn impossibilities into obvious outcomes. This is a divine appointment, a spiritual acceleration, a shift that has your name on it and no one can take it from you. Your days of struggling quietly are ending. Your days of feeling forgotten are ending. Your days of feeling stuck are ending. God is clearing the path. God is lighting the way. God is pushing you forward. You are not stepping into the unknown, you are stepping into the prepared. God has already gone ahead of you. God has already arranged what you need. God has already positioned who you need. God has already removed who cannot go with you. God has already secured the outcome. This is why so many things felt confusing lately. This is why certain relationships faded. This is why certain opportunities slipped away. This is why certain situations ended abruptly. You were not losing. You were being aligned. God was not subtracting. You were being refined. And every time something left your life, it was making room for something greater. You see, when God prepares a shift, it never begins on the outside, it begins within you. The shaking you feel inside your spirit, that restlessness, that hunger, that sense that your old life no longer fits you, that is the first sign that God is lifting you into a higher dimension of purpose. God transforms your inner world before God transforms your external world. God strengthens your mindset before God enlarges your territory. And if your soul feels stretched right now, it's because God is removing the limitations that once kept you small. God is expanding your capacity so you can carry what's coming without breaking under the weight of it. This is why your patience was tested. This is why your endurance was stretched. This is why God allowed you to walk through seasons where you felt unseen. God was not ignoring you. God was training you, training your discipline, training your resilience, training your sensitivity to divine timing. Because when the shift arrives, you cannot hesitate. You cannot shrink. You cannot doubt. You must step boldly into what God places before you. And boldness is not learned in comfort. It is forged in adversity, in waiting, in perseverance, in trusting God, even when nothing around you makes sense. Do you know why this shift will be so powerful? Because you are not stepping into it the same person you once were. You are stepping into it wiser, stronger, sharper, more disciplined, more spiritually aware, more aligned with God's voice than ever before. The challenges you faced did not weaken you. They refined you. They awakened your discernment. They increased your humility. They built your character. God was preparing the person who would manage the destiny you prayed for. It was never about delay, it was about development. And now God is saying the development is complete. The season is ready. There are moments in life when God accelerates what was slow, multiplies what was little, and opens what was locked. There are moments when God takes the ordinary and breathes something extraordinary into it. This is that moment for you. God is placing a new wind behind your steps. A divine push, a supernatural momentum. What used to take years will take months. What used to take months will take weeks. What used to take weeks will take days. Because when God shifts your timeline, nothing remains slow. Everything begins to move in alignment with God's command. But understand something deep. Not everyone around you will recognize this shift. Some people will not understand the speed at which your life begins to change. They will try to measure your breakthrough by their logic, by their experiences, by their expectations. But your calling is not built on human understanding. Your elevation is not based on human approval. Your destiny is not tied to human timing. God is the one advancing you. And when God elevates a person, no one can explain yet. They can only witness. You are stepping into a season where explanations are no longer required. Your results will speak for themselves. Your transformation will speak for itself. The favor on your life will speak for itself. The shift God is releasing will be undeniable. Even those who doubted you will have to admit that something divine is happening in your life. Even those who dismissed you will be unable to ignore the new strengths and clarity radiating from your spirit. Because when God decides to showcase a person, that display becomes undeniable. But here is the part many overlook. The shift you are entering is not just about receiving blessings. It is about stepping into divine responsibility. God is placing weight on your shoulders, not to burden you, but to promote you, to entrust you with the influence, to assign you a role in carrying light into places that have been dark for too long. This shift is not about comfort, it is about purpose. God is positioning you to impact, to transform, to uplift, to build. You are not being elevated for personal satisfaction alone. You are being elevated to become an instrument of God's wisdom and strength. This is why God allowed you to walk through seasons that humbled you, seasons that shaped you, seasons that forced you to rely on God alone. Because a person who has learned to depend on God cannot be shaken by circumstances. A person who has been refined by adversity cannot be destroyed by opposition. And a person who has walked through the fire with faith cannot be intimidated by any challenge ahead. God has built you into someone who can lead, someone who can withstand pressure, someone who can shine without fear. The shift you are stepping into will also bring separation. And that separation is not punishment, it is alignment. God removes people who cannot handle the next version of you. God distances you from individuals who would sabotage your elevation. God closes certain friendships not out of cruelty, but out of protection. Because this next chapter requires a lighter spirit, a clearer mind, and a circle that aligns with your destiny. Not everyone who walked with you through struggle is meant to walk with you into breakthrough. Some were meant only for the journey, not the arrival. Do not fear the people God removes. Do not cling to connections that God Himself is releasing. The shift demands a spiritual room. The blessing requires space. The new chapter cannot fit into the structure of your old relationships. Let God prune. Because every removal is making space for divine replacement. The people who enter your life in this new season will not drain you. They will sharpen you, uplift you, inspire you, and push you toward your purpose with a sincerity and strength. And as God shifts you, something else will awaken your spiritual authority. You will notice your confidence rising, not from ego, but from clarity. You will notice your intuition sharpening, not from fear, but from alignment with God's guidance. You will notice doors opening effortlessly, not from luck, but from divine orchestration. You will begin to walk with the awareness that God is guiding your steps with precision. You will not chase opportunities. Opportunities will begin to chase you because the atmosphere around your life is changing. Everything in your spirit is being recalibrated. The way you think, the way you speak, the way you move, the way you respond, the way you perceive challenges, everything is being lifted to a higher frequency. You are no longer operating from survival. God is shifting you into strategy. You are no longer operating from fear. God is shifting you into faith. You are no longer operating from limitation. God is shifting you into spiritual abundance. The mindset that once confined you is being dismantled. The fears that once controlled you are losing power. The insecurities that once weakened you are dissolving. Because God is not only elevating your life, God is elevating your identity. This moment will require courage. It will require obedience. It will require trust. But above all, it will require you to stop shrinking. Stop dimming yourself. Stop apologizing for the calling on your life. Stop hesitating when God opens a door. Stop questioning whether you are worthy of what God is placing before you. Your worthiness was decided the moment God chose you. God does not prepare greatness for someone who is small in spirit. God prepares greatness for someone who is willing to grow into it. This shift is your growth. This shift is your confirmation. This shift is your evidence that God has not forgotten you. And now God is saying, buckle up. What was delayed is being released. What was blocked is being opened. What was hidden is being revealed. What was stagnant is being stirred. What was distant is being delivered. Your life is about to move. Your spirit is about to rise. Your destiny is about to unfold. And nothing, absolutely nothing will be able to stop what God has spoken over your life. There comes a moment in every destiny where God no longer whispers your next step, God commands it. And that command becomes impossible to ignore. You begin to feel it in your bones, in your thoughts, in your dreams, in the way your spirit reacts to certain environments. You start sensing that the old season is finished, not because it was bad, but because it is too small for who you have become. God is pulling you out of familiar ground because your growth can no longer fit in the soil where you once survived. This is why the comfort you used to enjoy now feels uncomfortable. This is why certain places feel spiritually heavy. This is why conversations you once tolerated now feel draining. God is disconnecting you from anything that cannot carry the weight of who you are becoming. And the powerful truth is this: when God ushers you into a new beginning, God does not wait for you to feel ready. Because spiritual readiness is not based on how confident you feel. It is based on how prepared your spirit has become through the fires you survived. You may not feel ready, but your spirit is. You may not feel qualified, but God has equipped you. You may not feel strong enough, but God has strengthened you. And once God says move, your feelings must submit to divine timing. This next stage of your life is not about comfort, it is about obedience. It is about trusting that if God calls you forward, God has already prepared what awaits you. You must understand, God never speaks now unless heaven has already aligned what is coming. God is not asking you to imagine possibilities. God is revealing realities that have already been set in motion. The shift is not a prediction, it is a declaration. It is the unfolding of a plan that existed long before you felt the desire for change. Your spirit did not crave more by accident. That desire was God awakening you, preparing you, alerting you that the next chapter is approaching with unstoppable force. This shift will not only bring breakthroughs, it will bring clarity. The kind of clarity that dissolves confusion, breaks cycles, and reveals purpose. For the first time in a long time, you will understand why things had to happen the way they did. Why certain people had to leave. Why certain opportunities had to fail. Why certain prayers seemed unanswered. God is about to show you that nothing was wasted. Every disappointment carried a lesson. Every delay carried protection. Every setback carried direction. And every closed door carried redirection. God is not a God of chaos or coincidence. God is a God of precision. And the precision of this shift will astonish you. You will look back and realize that the timing, the connections, the opportunities, the ideas, the breakthroughs, they were all stitched together by a divine hand long before you even recognized the pattern. What seemed random was strategic. What seemed late was perfectly timed. What seemed painful was purposeful. God has been orchestrating every detail, even the ones you thought were failures. And now that the moment of activation has come, you must prepare yourself for spiritual velocity. Your growth will no longer be slow, it will be sudden. Your opportunities will no longer be scattered, they will be concentrated. Your breakthroughs will no longer be sporadic, they will be stacked, one after another, until you realize you've stepped into a season where your life is unrecognizable from what it used to be. When God says everything you've been waiting for is starting now, it means you are stepping into acceleration that cannot be undone. But acceleration requires responsibility. It requires discipline. God is not elevating you into a season where you can bring old habits. The old version of you cannot survive where God is taking you. The insecurities must fall off. The self-sabotage must be silenced. The fear-driven decisions must be replaced with faith-led action. God is lifting you. Do not drag the weight of your past into the altitude of your future. Growth demands release. Elevation demands sacrifice. Breakthrough demands the shedding of what no longer serves your destiny. Some of the heaviness you feel is not spiritual attack, it is spiritual expansion. You are outgrowing environments that once felt comfortable. You are outgrowing conversations that once felt normal. You are outgrowing identities you once hid behind. God is enlarging your spirit, stretching your awareness, sharpening your focus. That tension you feel inside is not confusion, it is transformation. You are shedding the last pieces of who you used to be so you can rise into who you were always meant to become. And as this shift unfolds, you must prepare for unfamiliar territory. God is not calling you to repeat what you've done. God is calling you to rise into what you've never experienced. You will feel moments of uncertainty, not because you are unprepared, but because what God is doing is new, fresh, unprecedented. You cannot depend on old formulas for a new season. You cannot use old strategies for new opportunities. You cannot rely on old mindsets for new breakthroughs. God is guiding you step by step, moment by moment, movement by movement, into a dimension where you must depend on divine guidance more than ever before. This is why God has been purifying your intuition, elevating your discernment, strengthening your ability to sense spiritual shifts. You are entering a season where your greatest advantage will not be what you see, it will be what you discern, what you feel, what God whispers into your spirit when the world is silent. The shift requires spiritual hearing more than physical sight. You will not always see the path clearly, but you will feel God's guidance unmistakably. And when God begins to move, you will notice something extraordinary. Everything that once felt difficult will become easier. Opportunities will appear without struggle. Solutions will show up without force. Ideas will flow like they are being poured into your mind. You will begin to experience a level of divine ease, not because the journey becomes simple, but because God is now carrying what used to overwhelm you. When God steps into your situation, burdens lift. When God breathes on your plans, obstacles dissolve. When God blesses your effort, results multiply. But perhaps the most profound shift will be within your identity. God is reminding you who you truly are, not the version shaped by trauma, not the version silenced by fear, not the version limited by people's expectations. God is calling forth the version of you that has always existed beneath the layers of survival. The version that is bold, the version that is clear, the version that is powerful, the version that walks with authority, the version that recognizes divine purpose and refuses to shrink in the face of adversity. You are rising into that version now. The shift is pulling it out of you. The calling is awakening it. The destiny ahead requires it. The world around you cannot intimidate someone who has discovered their purpose. And God is revealing your purpose with such clarity that you will no longer question your path. You will walk it with a conviction, with a steadiness, with a fire in your spirit that nothing can extinguish. Now hear this clearly. The season you are entering is not about luck, coincidence, or human effort. It is about God's divine timing, God's deliberate orchestration, and God's unstoppable power. Everything that has been prepared for you, every breakthrough, every opportunity, every blessing was placed there by God. It is not dependent on your strength, your understanding, or your connections. It is dependent on God's will, God's timing, and God's authority. And when God moves, nothing, absolutely nothing, can resist. Mountains bow, obstacles vanish, delays dissolve, doors open, people shift, situations realign, and the atmosphere itself begins to obey the divine command that is being released over your life. This is why God is calling you to vigilance. You cannot approach this season half-heartedly. You cannot respond to this momentum with hesitation. God is saying, step forward, move boldly, walk in alignment, receive what I am releasing without fear. You will feel the push of divine acceleration. You will feel the stirring of spiritual currents moving you forward. And in that moment, your faith must be unshakable. Your vision must be unwavering, and your spirit must be fully awake, because what God is releasing cannot wait for your approval. It is already in motion. Your task is to align, to trust, to act, and to receive. And as God begins this powerful work in your life, understand that opposition will also rise, but it will no longer have the power it once had. Not because you are stronger, but because God is greater. Not because you are prepared, but because God has prepared the way. Not because circumstances have changed, but because God is sovereign over every situation. The forces that once intimidated you, the people who doubted you, the setbacks that defeated you, they will now witness the unstoppable momentum of God's purpose manifesting in your life. The spiritual currents you once struggled against are now flowing in your favor, carrying you swiftly toward the destiny. This is a moment where patience and persistence meet the divine timing. God's promise is not measured by the speed of human expectation, but by the perfection of spiritual alignment. What may have felt slow for years is now on the precipice of release. The delay was never denial. It was preparation. The silence was never absence. It was formation. The wait was never meaningless. It was divine calibration. And now, God is shifting your life into motion. Everything you have been waiting for is no longer distant. It is here. It is happening. It is beginning. Your vision, your dreams, your prayers, they are not random. They are intentional. God has planted them deep within your spirit. And now the soil of your life is fertile. The rain of God's timing has arrived. The sunlight of divine favor is shining. And what grows in this season will be unlike anything you have ever experienced before. Seeds that seemed dormant are now bursting into life. Dreams that seemed impossible are now within reach. Opportunities that seemed locked are now swinging open, and your spirit, the part of you that never stopped believing, is now ready to walk boldly into what God has promised. But do not mistake the speed of this shift for simplicity. The elevation you are entering will require focus, strength, and spiritual awareness. You will be faced with the choices that test the alignment of your heart. You will encounter moments that challenge your resolve. You will confront circumstances that demand your faith to exceed your fear. But God is not calling you to shrink back. God is calling you to rise higher. Every challenge in this season is an opportunity to demonstrate the trust, to exercise discernment, and to showcase resilience. The obstacles are not there to stop you. They are there to prove that you are ready for what is coming. And here is a truth that must resonate deeply in your spirit. The moment God says everything you've been waiting for is starting now, it does not mean you will receive everything all at once. Divine acceleration is strategic. God moves in layers, in steps, in perfect synchronization. Some blessings will arrive immediately, others will unfold gradually. But every piece is orchestrated. Every movement is intentional. Every outcome is divine. And your role is to walk in faith, to act decisively, and to remain aligned with God's guidance in every step. Because if you waver, even for a moment, you risk delaying what God has already set into motion. This is why your spirit must be ready. Your heart must be clear. Your mind must be disciplined. God is not releasing the fullness of your breakthrough to someone distracted, divided, or indecisive. God is releasing it to someone who has persevered, who has remained faithful, who has remained steadfast, and who has positioned themselves to receive with confidence. The shift you are stepping into will separate the prepared from the unprepared. It will magnify the faithful and expose the wavering. It will accelerate those aligned with divine purpose and slow those who resist it. And you, my friend, are being positioned to thrive in this moment. Do not fear the unknown. Do not fear change. Do not fear acceleration. God is not releasing you into chaos. God is releasing you into clarity. God is not placing you in uncertainty. God is placing you in alignment. God is not asking you to rely on luck. God is asking you to rely on divine guidance. And as long as your spirit remains tuned to God's voice, as long as your heart remains surrendered, as long as your faith remains steadfast, you will move with unstoppable momentum. What seemed impossible yesterday will become the foundation for miracles today. What seemed out of reach yesterday will become the platform for elevation tomorrow. And what seemed delayed for years will now unfold in ways that exceed even your wildest expectation. This shift is not only for you, it is for the purpose you carry. God has entrusted you with the influence, with the vision, with the light that must shine in the world. The acceleration in your life is not for personal gratification. It is for divine assignment. It is for impact. It is for testimony. It is for the manifestation of God's wisdom, God's favor, and God's power through you. The blessings, the doors, the opportunities, they are not the final destination. They are the tools for you to fulfill the calling God placed upon your life. And when God activates this shift, your influence will expand beyond what you ever imagined possible. You must understand this. Your breakthrough will provoke amazement. People will marvel at the suddenness of your progress. They will question the source of your acceleration. They will try to explain your rise with human reasoning, but the answer will always remain the same. God moved, God opened, God accelerated. And as God works, your role is to remain obedient, to remain focused, and to remain aligned with the spiritual flow that is guiding your steps. Because one misstep in decision can hinder momentum, but one act of alignment can amplify it exponentially. And so, buckle up, not because the journey will be easy, but because it will be divine. Not because you will control the outcome, but because God already has. Not because the path is predictable, but because God is orchestrating every step. What you have been waiting for, hoping for, praying for, and believing for is not distant. It is imminent. And when God releases it, it will arrive with power, precision, and authority. Every delay is over. Every question finds its answer. Every struggle finds resolution. And the blessings that God has kept in reserve for you are now moving forward to meet you exactly where you are prepared to receive them. Relax for a moment and listen closely, because what I am about to tell you has the power to break the fear that has been tightening itself around your heart. There is a reason your path has been heavy, a reason your spirit has been restless, a reason your thoughts have been pulling you in every direction. You have been trying to carry a future that does not belong in your hands. You have been trying to force a door open that only God can unlock. And today, God is whispering into the deepest part of your being, relax. If God wants it to happen, it will. Not by your anxiety, not by your panic, not by your desperate attempts to control every outcome. It will happen because God has written it into your destiny. And nothing, not fear, not people, not circumstances can erase what God has ordained. There comes a moment in every person's life when their strength collapses under the weight of uncertainty. You may reach a season where you feel like nothing is moving, nothing is changing, and every prayer feels suspended in the air with no response. And yet in that silence, God is working with a precision you cannot see. You think the delay is punishment, but God sees it as preparation. You think the waiting means the blessing is not coming, but God sees it as protection from something not intended for you. You think the situation is stagnant, but God is aligning circumstances, shifting hearts, and shaping opportunities that will unfold exactly when He chooses. When you truly understand that God is responsible for outcomes, your heart stops suffocating under pressure. You begin to breathe again. You begin to live again. You begin to trust again. Because you realize that nothing you chase will ever arrive before its divine time, and nothing meant for you will ever pass you by. Many people live as if their life depends on human approval. They beg for opportunities. They force relationships. They manipulate the situations. They run after people who do not value them. And the more they chase, the more life slips out of their grip. But a person who trusts God walks differently. They move with calmness. They carry a confidence that cannot be shaken by rejection or delay. They have an inner stillness because they know something the restless soul does not know. If God wants it to happen, it will happen. If God does not, then even if the whole world tries to make it happen, it will fall apart. There is nothing more powerful than a heart that has surrendered the need to control the future. That heart no longer trembles when plans fall apart because it understands that God is rearranging something better. That heart no longer crumbles when people walk away, because it knows that God removes what is not meant to stay. That heart no longer breaks under pressure, because it is anchored in the truth that God sees beyond what the human eye can perceive. You may think something is good for you. You may think a door is the right door. You may think a path makes sense. But God sees the trap behind what looks attractive. God sees the suffering behind what looks promising. God sees the heartbreak behind what looks beautiful. And when God blocks something you wanted, it is not rejection, it is divine rescue. You must understand something deeply. God does not operate according to your schedule. Human beings want things instantly. They want the results now. They want the answers today. They want the clarity without waiting. But God's timing is a divine tool, a spiritual filter, a refining process. What God gives you quickly can disappear quickly. But what God prepares over time becomes unshakable, unstoppable, undeniable. When God finally releases what He has written for your life, it arrives with such power that no human hand can hold it back. That is why some breakthroughs take years. That is why some prayers are answered slowly. That is why some seasons feel endless. Because God is not just preparing the blessing, God is preparing you. You may think you are ready, but God knows the pride that could rise in you if the blessing came too soon. God knows the weaknesses that could destroy the opportunity if you were elevated prematurely. God knows the people around you who are not meant to see what He is about to do. God knows the environment that must change before He releases the next step. And so God waits, and you must learn to wait with Him. Because peace does not come from having everything sorted out. Peace comes from knowing that God is sorting everything out, even when you cannot see the process. There are people right now who are exhausted, not because the journey is too long, but because they have been trying to carry what God already promised to carry for them. You worry about your future as if God is not already standing in your tomorrow. You panic about closed doors as if God cannot open new ones. You obsess over other people's decisions as if they have more authority over your destiny than God Himself. You try to micromanage every situation because you fear losing control. But here is the truth. You were never in control to begin with, and the moment you accept that is the moment your spirit finds rest, relax. If God wanted to happen, it will. No matter who dislikes you, no matter who doubts you, no matter who tries to block you, no matter what mistakes you made, no matter how late you think you are, no matter how impossible it looks, God does not consult people before blessing you. God does not check your past before opening a new future. God does not measure your worth by your failures. When God decides it is time, the door will open, not gradually, not slowly, but suddenly, powerfully, unmistakably. God's timing is not based on human logic. It is based on divine design. Look back at your life. Think about the moments you worried endlessly, the moments you lost sleep, the moments you cried, the moments you feared everything would collapse, and yet here you are. You survived the storms you thought would break you. You overcame situations you thought would end you. You outgrew people you once thought you needed. You found clarity after confusion, strength after weakness, direction after being lost. If you could see how God was guiding you all along, you would trust God more boldly in the present. The same God who carried you before is carrying you now. The same God who rescued you from what you didn't understand is guiding you through what you cannot see. The same God who protected you then is protecting you now. And the same God who gave you strength before will give you strength again. Have you ever noticed how the things you tried to force never truly brought you peace? How the situations you manipulated fell apart anyway? How the people you chased never valued you the way you hoped? That is because anything you force will eventually break. Anything you beg for will eventually wound you. Anything you cling to out of fear will eventually slip out of your grasp. But anything God gives will last. Anything God appoints will flourish. Anything God aligns will unfold naturally, without pressure, without fear, without desperation. You do not need to exhaust yourself to receive what God has already written with your name on it. There are people who think they were forgotten by God because their life has been moving slowly. They think the delay means they have been overlooked. They think silence means abandonment. But God's silence is not absence. God's silence is strategy. God is preparing something in the unseen realm long before it becomes visible in your life. A blessing that arrives too early becomes a burden, but a blessing that arrives on God's schedule becomes a breakthrough. That is why the blessing may feel slow, but when it comes, it will come with such a force that it will override every season of waiting, every hour of disappointment, every moment of doubt. God is not delaying your blessing, God is perfecting it. There are moments when God tests the depth of your trust. He removes the noise. He slows the journey. He closes doors. He takes people out of your life. He allows uncertainty, not to punish you, but to teach you a higher form of faith. Because a true faith is not when everything goes your way. True faith is when you stand firm, even when everything looks unclear. True faith is when you say, I do not see the answer, but I know God has already written it. True faith is when you stop fighting for control and start resting in God's control. True faith is when you stop asking, why is this happening? And start saying, God, guide me through this. Relax. If God wants it to happen, nothing can stop it. If God does not, nothing can force it. And this truth is not meant to make you passive. It is meant to make you peaceful. When you release the fear of missing out, you begin to walk with spiritual confidence. When you release the fear of losing opportunities, you begin to attract what aligns with your soul. When you release the fear of uncertainty, you begin to feel the presence of God guiding you step by step. God never intended for you to live in panic. God never intended for you to live anxious about every decision. God never intended for you to wake up overwhelmed or go to bed afraid. God intended for you to live with trust, with calmness, with spiritual authority. You may not understand what God is doing right now, but trust that God is doing something. You may not see the change yet, but trust that the change is already happening. You may not see the path, but trust that the path is already carved out. You may not see the opportunity, but trust that the opportunity is forming behind the scenes. You may not see the blessing, but trust that the blessing is being prepared with the details so perfect that you will look back and say, now I understand why God made me wait. Life becomes beautiful when you stop forcing and start flowing, when you stop pushing and start trusting, when you stop panicking and start resting in God's plan. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are exactly where God needs you to be for the next part of your journey. But your spirit must learn to relax. Anxiety blocks clarity. Fear blocks wisdom. Desperation blocks discernment. But trust opens the heart. Trust sharpens the vision. Trust awakens the soul. And trust in God is what transforms a restless life into a purposeful one. Your future is not fragile. Your destiny is not unstable. Your blessings are not in danger. What God ordains cannot be stopped by any force on earth, not by people, not by circumstances, not by your own fears. You think everything depends on you, but everything depends on God. And when you realize that, you stop living with the pressure of controlling outcomes and start living with the peace of surrender. You are not meant to fight every battle. You are not meant to chase every opportunity. You are not meant to worry about every detail. You are meant to trust the one who already knows the end from the beginning. You are meant to walk with assurance that God is leading your steps. You are meant to breathe freely, knowing that God is clearing the path in front of you. You are meant to rest deeply, knowing that God is fighting the battles you cannot see. Relax. If God wants it to happen, it will. And not even your fear can stop it. Not even your mistakes can stop it. Not even your doubts can stop it. When God decides it is time, everything will shift. People will show up unexpectedly. Doors will open effortlessly. Opportunities will align flawlessly. Circumstances will rearrange supernaturally. What looked impossible will suddenly look easy. What looked blocked will suddenly swing open. What looked delayed will suddenly accelerate. That is the power of divine timing. And when that moment comes, you will understand why God asked you to trust, why God asked you to wait, why God asked on you to stay still, why God asked you to release control. Because God was not withholding anything from you. God was preparing everything for you. Sometimes God delays things because He knows you would settle if they came too early. You would settle for someone not meant for your spirit. You would settle for an opportunity too small for your purpose. You would settle for a life far below your potential. God loves you too much to allow you to settle. That is why God closes doors you try to force open. That is why God removes people you cling to. That is why God blocks paths that look promising. Because God knows what you truly need, and God is determined to give you nothing less than what aligns with your destiny. Relax. You don't have to compete for what is yours. You don't have to fear losing what God has appointed for you. You don't have to chase validation, approval, or acceptance. What is meant for you is coming towards you in divine timing. It will not miss you. It will not overlook you. It will not forget you. When it is time, God will deliver it directly into your life, and no one will be able to claim credit for it. You are entering a season where you must protect your peace by trusting God more deeply than ever before. When thoughts of fear rise, remind yourself that God is in control. When doubts whisper in your ear, remind yourself that God has never failed you. When anxiety tries to steal your sleep, remind yourself that God is working even while you rest. When impatience tries to make you force things, remind yourself that God's timing is perfect. When the enemy tries to plant panic in your heart, remind yourself that God's plan is unfolding with divine precision. Everything you are worried about is already in God's hands. Everything you are confused about is already written in God's plan. Everything you fear losing is already protected by God's power. Everything you think is impossible is already possible for God. And everything you desire that aligns with your soul will arrive exactly when your spirit is ready to receive it. Relax, trust, surrender. God is not done with you. God is not ignoring you. God is not delaying you. God is preparing you for a life that will make sense only when you see the full picture. And when it unfolds, you will realize that every unanswered prayer, every delay, every closed door, every quiet season, every lonely night, every disappointment, and every detour was shaping you into someone capable of carrying the blessing without losing yourself. Then listen even more deeply, because God is not finished speaking to your heart. There is another layer of this truth you must understand, another dimension of peace that God wants to release into your spirit. When God says relax, it is not an invitation to be passive. It is an invitation to rise with the spiritual maturity. To relax in God is to stand firm in the understanding that God's wisdom far surpasses your own. To relax in God is to shift from struggling to aligning, from pushing to flowing, from fearing to trusting. Many think trust is quiet, weak, or gentle, but trust in God is one of the strongest forces on earth. A heart that trusts God cannot be manipulated, cannot be intimidated, cannot be shaken. It walks boldly, speaks confidently, lives peacefully, because it knows that everything unfolding in life is under the watch of a flawless, all-seeing God who never makes a mistake. There are seasons when God will remove the illusion of control from your life. You may try to plan every detail, but the plans collapse. You may try to secure every angle, but uncertainty increases. You may try to depend on people, but they become inconsistent. These seasons are not attacks, they are awakenings. God is gently dismantling the false structures you have relied on, so your spirit can learn to stand on the only foundation that never moves, God alone. When God shakes your life, it is never to destroy you. It is to detach you from what is unstable so you can attach yourself to what is eternal. And when your heart finally recognizes that the only true safety comes from relying on God, a new strength rises within you, a strength not based on circumstances, but on faith, not based on predictability, but on surrender, not based on clarity, but on conviction. Relaxing in God does not mean you stop moving. It means you stop forcing. You still work, but without panic. You still prepare, but without fear. You still dream, but without desperation. You still take steps forward, but without the anxiety that tries to convince you that everything depends on your effort. When you trust God deeply, you no longer move from pressure, you move from peace. And when your actions come from peace, they are guided by wisdom, not by fear. This is why a person who trusts God accomplishes more with a calm spirit than a fearful soul accomplishes with a frantic effort. Fear drives you in circles. Faith drives you forward. Fear exhausts you. Faith empowers you. Fear blinds you. Faith clarifies your path. And it is only when you choose to relax in God that your life begins to align with the divine rhythm He has prepared for you. There will be moments when God deliberately slows you down, not to hinder you, but to protect you from entering seasons you are not yet equipped for. What feels like delay is sometimes divine insulation, God shielding you from a battle that would have crushed you if you walked into it too early. God can see the traps your eyes cannot detect. God can hear conversations your ears will never witness. God can feel the intentions of a people long before they reveal themselves. And when God slows your step, it is because He is guiding you through hidden danger, moving you away from unseen harm or preparing something ahead that requires your arrival at the perfect moment, not too soon, not too late. When you truly grasp this, you stop asking, why hasn't it happened yet? And start declaring, God is preparing the perfect way for me. Relaxing in God also means releasing the timeline you created in your mind. Many people imprison themselves with expectations of when life should change, when the blessing should arrive, when the breakthrough should manifest. You compare your journey with others and wonder why someone else received what you have been praying for. But comparison is the thief of trust. What God arranged for them is not what God arranged for you. And the timing God chose for them is not the timing God chose for you. Your story is uniquely woven by the hands of God, and no other life can serve as a reference point for your path. When you release comparison, you reclaim your peace. When you release the demand for things to happen on your schedule, you reclaim your freedom. When you release the need to understand every detail, you reclaim your spiritual strength. You must remember this truth: God creates blessings that require divine maturity to handle. If you receive something before you are spiritually stabilized, it will overwhelm you instead of elevating you. That is why God invested time in preparing you, shaping you, refining you. Every delay is strengthening something inside you: your patience, your discernment, your self-discipline, your humility, your emotional resilience, your ability to remain faithful in uncertainty. God is building the spiritual muscles needed to carry the weight of the destiny ahead of you. A house built quickly collapses quickly, but a house built slowly and wisely stands unshaken through storms. God is constructing something within you that will endure every season of life. And that kind of shaping does not happen overnight. Relaxing also means trusting that God knows how to bring everything together without your interference. You may think your life is a scattered puzzle with missing pieces. You see broken chapters, painful memories, unanswered prayers, sudden losses, unexpected turns. But God sees the entire picture. Every piece is in His hand, and He knows where each one belongs. What looks random to you is intentional to God. What feels disconnected to you is divinely linked in the unseen realm. What you call mistakes are often stepping stones God used to redirect your path. What you call losses are often releases God orchestrated to free your future. What you call confusion is often the cloud cover before divine clarity breaks through. God does not waste a single moment of your life. Every detail, every lesson, every hardship is a thread in the tapestry of a destiny greater than anything you could imagine. When God tells you to relax, He's calling you to rise above your emotions. Emotions are powerful, but they can also deceive you. Fear can convince you that you are alone. Anxiety can convince you that God is silent. Impatience can convince you that you are stuck. Doubt can convince you that your prayer is ignored. But faith lifts you above the turbulence of emotions. Faith gives you spiritual clarity when the mind is overwhelmed. Faith shows you that God is closest in the moments that feel the quietest. Faith reminds you that your feelings are temporary, but God's plan is permanent. When you learn to relax in God, you stop interpreting life based on fear and start interpreting life based on faith. Another layer of this truth is learning to detach from outcomes while remaining committed to obedience. You do not need to know how God will do it. You do not need to know when God will do it. You do not need to know through whom God will do it. You only need to continue walking in obedience. Obedience in character, obedience in patience, obedience in humility, obedience in trust. When you obey God, you align yourself with the divine flow, and blessings naturally flow toward you. When you relax and stop trying to manipulate outcomes, you create a spiritual space for God to move freely in your life. And God moves most powerfully in surrendered hearts, not in restless ones. Relaxing in God is not weakness. It is the highest form of spiritual strength. Anyone can panic. Anyone can worry. Anyone can complain. Anyone can fear. But it takes spiritual power to remain calm under pressure, to trust when nothing makes sense, to stay grounded when life feels unstable, to keep believing when everything appears delayed. A person who has learned to relax in God becomes a vessel of unshakable peace. Their presence brings calm to others. Their words carry weight. Their decisions reflect wisdom. Their life radiates spiritual maturity. And this is exactly what God wants to develop in you, a heart so rooted in trust that no storm can uproot your inner peace. There will come a time when you look back and realize that the things that once terrified you were actually blessings in disguise. The unanswered prayer was protection. The closed door was mercy. The setback was preparation. The silence was God's strategy. The delay was divine timing. What you call obstacles were actually the hands of God shaping you for something far greater. And when that realization fills your heart, gratitude will overflow from your spirit. You will thank God for not giving you what you wanted too early. You will thank God for removing people who could not walk into your next season. You will thank God for the changes that seemed painful at the time but saved your destiny. You will thank God for every moment He asked you to relax, because now you can see what He was preparing behind the scenes. Relaxing in God also means believing deeply that no force on earth can sabotage what God has ordained for your life. People may try, circumstances may interfere. The enemy may attempt to plant fear, confusion, or distraction. But the power of God is above every earthly and spiritual force. What God wills will unfold regardless of opposition. What God decides will manifest regardless of delay. What God appoints will arrive regardless of obstacles. No one can cancel your destiny. No one can take what is written for you. No one can prematurely end what God is still shaping. The only thing that can weaken your journey is your inability to trust. And that is why God keeps whispering, relax, let me be God in your life. You must also recognize that God often waits until the very last moment to reveal His plan. This is not to frighten you, it is to strengthen your faith. When things seem impossible, that is when God's power becomes undeniable. When all options collapse, that is when God's intervention becomes unmistakable. When you run out of solutions, that is when God's wisdom becomes evident. God allows situations to reach their breaking point so that you may witness His ability to restore, rebuild, revive, and redirect in ways that exceed every expectation. If everything were easy, you would not learn trust. If everything happened instantly, you would not develop spiritual endurance. If everything unfolded according to your plans, you would never understand the beauty of God's plans. Relaxing in God means believing that even when life appears chaotic, God's order is still governing everything. God is not surprised by your situation. God is not confused by your obstacles. God is not intimidated by your challenges. God is not overwhelmed by your fears. God has already mapped your journey, measured your battles, equipped your spirit, and prepared your breakthrough. You are not walking through life blindly. God is guiding you step by step, moment by moment, season by season. And when you truly internalize this, anxiety loses its grip on your mind. Fear loses its power over your decisions. Doubt loses its ability to weaken your spirit. Relax. If God wants it to happen, it will. And if it does not happen, trust that God is protecting you from something you cannot yet understand. You do not see the full story. You do not have the full picture. You do not know what lies ahead. But God does. And that is enough. Surrendering to God's will is not giving up. It is rising into the highest form of spiritual intelligence. It is saying, God knows what I cannot see. God controls what I cannot change. God understands what I cannot grasp. And God chooses what I cannot comprehend. This kind of a surrender unlocks peace that no circumstance can destabilize. When you finally reach the point where your heart surrenders every fear, every timeline, every unanswered question into the hands of God, a profound quietness settles into your soul, a quietness that the world cannot shake and circumstances cannot steal. It is the quietness of knowing that your life is not drifting aimlessly, it is being guided with a divine precision. It is the quietness of realizing that nothing meant for you can be taken and nothing not meant for you can be forced. It is the quietness that comes from trusting that God's wisdom is greater than your understanding. God's timing is wiser than your urgency, and God's protection is stronger than your plans. All along, God has been shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you. All along, God has been removing what would break you and aligning what will bless you. And when the moment arrives, when the door opens, when the path clears, when the blessing unfolds, you will look back and see that everything made sense. Every delay had a purpose. Every silence held a meaning. And every detour was a part of a design far more beautiful than anything you could ever imagined. So relax your mind, steady your spirit, and anchor your heart, because what God has written for you will not miss you. What God has ordained will come to pass. And when it does, you will understand why God kept whispering to your soul again and again, trust, breathe, and release, because if God wants it to happen, it will. And as you walk forward from this moment, carry this truth like a shield over your heart. You are never behind. You are never forgotten, and you are never overlooked. God has not skipped over your name. God has not delayed your blessing out of neglect. God has not withheld your breakthrough without purpose. Every step you've taken, whether in joy, confusion, or struggle, has been leading you toward a destination crafted by divine wisdom. And when you finally align your spirit with this reality, the pressure lifts, the fear dissolves, and your soul breathes freely again. For the first time, you begin to live not from anxiety, but from assurance, not from striving, but from surrender, not from exhaustion, but from spiritual rest. Because you know now with unshakable conviction that your story is safe, your future is protected, your destiny is secure, and whatever God has written for your life is already moving toward you step by step, moment by moment, in a way no human force can interfere with. So take courage, walk gently, hold your peace, and rest in the certainty that The God who shaped your beginning is the same God who is guiding your ending, and everything in between is unfolding exactly as it should. And let this final truth settle deep into your spirit. The peace you seek is not found in knowing what comes next, but in knowing the one who controls what comes next. You have spent so many nights wrestling with the questions that were never yours to carry, trying to predict outcomes only God can determine, trying to force doors that were never shaped for your hands. But now God is inviting you into a different kind of life, a life where your heart is no longer tossed by uncertainty, where your value is no longer measured by speed, and where your joy is no longer dependent on what you can achieve. This is the life of someone who trusts God fully, who walks with calm authority because they know their steps are ordered, who rest without fear because they know their destiny is guarded, and who waits without anxiety because they know nothing ordained for them can ever be lost. And the more you release your grip on the outcomes you once obsessed over, the more you begin to see signs of God's subtle guidance everywhere. A door closes, but another one quietly opens. A person leaves, but someone more aligned with your purpose enters. A plan fails, but a better path emerges. A season ends, but a stronger, wiser version of you steps forward. These are not coincidences. These are confirmations that God has never stopped working on your behalf. Even in the chapters that felt silent or confusing, you are not at the mercy of a chance. You are moving under the direction of a God who knows exactly what you need, exactly when you need it, and exactly how it should arrive. So release the urgency that has been draining your spirit. Release the fear that has been tightening your chest. Release the doubt that has been whispering lies to your mind. You are not waiting alone. You are waiting with God. And waiting with God is never wasted time. It is a preparation time, strengthening time, clarifying time. It is the sacred space where God aligns your heart with what He has already written for your future. And when the moment of fulfillment arrives, it will not come with confusion or chaos, but with a deep, unmistakable peace that lets you know this is it. This is the moment God prepared me for. So breathe again, walk forward with a calm spirit, live from a place of quiet confidence, because when you truly understand that if God wanted to happen, nothing can stop it, and if God does not want it to happen, nothing can force it, you step into a level of freedom that transforms your entire life. You become unshakable, unmoved by temporary storms, undistracted by delays, untouched by fear. And in that place of spiritual surrender, you finally experience the peace that has been waiting for you all along. The peace that comes not from having control, but from knowing that God always has you in the palm of His hand, guiding you toward everything meant for your destiny. You may not realize it yet, but right now, this very moment, God is whispering something into your spirit that sounds strange to the natural ear, but thunderous to the spiritual mind. God is saying, put salt in your shoes. And when God gives a command that unusual, that unexpected, that symbolic, it means He is preparing you for a journey that cannot be taken with ordinary steps, ordinary thinking, or ordinary faith. You cannot walk into the destiny God has prepared for you with the same shoes you wore in your season of struggle. You cannot walk into a higher calling with the shoes that have carried the dust of your doubt, the mud of your fear, and the weight of your past. God is telling you to place something powerful inside your shoes, something sacred, something symbolic, salt, because the next steps you take require preservation, power, endurance, and divine strengthening from the inside out. When God says put salt in your shoes, He's not telling you to do something mystical or superstitious. He's telling you to fortify your walk, strengthen your spirit, harden your resolve, make your faith unshakable. Salt is the symbol of endurance, and God is saying you will not faint on this next path. You will not tire. You will not give up halfway. You will walk with a firmness. No attack can weaken. No storm can destroy. No fear can dissolve. Salt keeps what is valuable from decaying. And God is using this image to show you that the purpose He placed inside you will not rot away. The dreams He planted in your heart will not wither, and the strength you need to reach your promise will not fade. God is commanding you to prepare yourself inwardly for the outward journey ahead. There are people who wonder why their progress feels slow, why their footsteps feel heavy, why their spirit feels worn out before they even begin. It is because they are walking with empty shoes. They are stepping into battles with no spiritual reinforcement. They are taking risks with no preparation. They are trying to climb mountains with shoes that were never strengthened for the terrain. But God is looking at you and saying, I want your steps to be seasoned with faith, your path to be preserved with purpose, your courage to be fortified with strength. Put salt in your shoes so that every step you take echoes with the authority I have given you. You see, there is a difference between walking and walking with God-backed endurance. When God commands you to put salt in your shoes, He is recruiting you into a realm where your steps are no longer ordinary movements, they become declarations. Every footstep becomes a statement of faith. I will not quit. I will not bend. I will not let fear claim territory meant for my destiny. God is preparing you to walk through valleys without trembling and climb spiritual peaks without losing your strength. When God seasons your steps, no terrain is too difficult, no journey is too long, no burden is too heavy. Salt in your shoes means your progress will not be stolen. It means your steps will not slip. It means you will not be derailed by the distractions that took others off course. God is saying, I am preserving your momentum. I am protecting your forward motion. I am making sure that the enemy cannot contaminate or corrupt the path I am sending you on. Too many times, people begin with passion but end with exhaustion. They start with excitement but finish with discouragement. They have dreams but no endurance to reach them. And so God gives you an instruction that seems unusual but carries divine wisdom. Add salt to your steps so that your journey will last. There are people who will say, but God, why salt? Why something so simple? Why something so small? Because God often hides great power in simple things. God uses symbolic actions to transform spiritual realities. When God says, put salt in your shoes, He is teaching you that the smallest acts of obedience carry the greatest breakthroughs. Some people miss their miracles because they are waiting for dramatic signs, but God's greatest instructions are often quiet, unexpected whispers that shift the entire direction of your life. God is telling you that obedience, even to the smallest command, will unlock the largest blessings. Salt in your shoes also means clarity. It means God is purifying your walk so you do not wander into places that do not belong to you. It means He is removing confusion from your path so you stop walking in circles, repeating the same cycle, finishing the same lessons, encountering the same dead ends. God is saying, I want your steps to be directed, intentional, purposeful. I want you to move with confidence, not hesitation. I want you to walk with assurance, not uncertainty. When God seasons your steps, you stop wasting your energy on things that are beneath your calling. You stop chasing what distracts you. You stop walking into rooms where His presence is not sending you. Salt in your shoes means God is empowering you to stand when others fall. It means when pressure increases, you will hold your ground. When storms rise, you will not be moved. When people try to weaken your spirit, your footing remains firm. Salt toughens the surface of whatever it touches, and God is toughening your spirit. God is strengthening your inner posture. God is making you resistant to the spiritual erosion that brings others down. Have you ever noticed how quickly discouragement tries to melt your confidence? How rapidly fear tries to dissolve your peace? How easily pressure attempts to drain your courage? That is because you were walking without salt. You were walking without spiritual reinforcement. But now, God is saying, I am preserving you. I am guarding you. I am activating something powerful within you that will not allow your spirit to dissolve. Salt keeps what is valuable intact. And God is declaring that you are too valuable to go through another season where your strength melts under pressure. Salt in your shoes also means God is making you spiritually unbothered. When God places divine preservation in your steps, you stop reacting to everything. You stop absorbing negativity. You stop caring what people say. You stop letting their words or opinions disturb your inner balance. God is sealing your peace. God is protecting your emotional stability. God is making sure that nothing external can contaminate your internal walk. When you walk with the salt in your shoes, you walk differently. You walk with dignity. You walk with assurance. You walk with authority. You walk knowing your path has been purified, your steps have been strengthened, and your future has been preserved by God Himself. You are not shaken. You are not derailed. You are not disturbed. You are not anxious. You know that every move you make is covered by God's plan. But salt also does something else. It creates thirst. When God says, put salt in your shoes, He is awakening a deeper thirst for Him. He is stirring a hunger for His guidance, His presence, His wisdom, His direction. You walk differently when you are thirsty for God. You walk with more focus, more intention, more clarity, more surrender. Your steps become a pursuit, not a routine. Your walk become a journey, not a chore. God is saying, I am awakening your spirit so that you do not walk in dryness but in desire for me. Some people try to walk through life with no spiritual thirst. They try to rely on their own strength, their own logic, their own understanding. But when the soul is not thirsty for God, the steps become weak. The walk becomes slow. The journey becomes draining. So God says, let me season your steps. Let me stir your hunger. Let me give you a walk, a divine longing that keeps you connected to me. The salt in your shoes represents a soul that refuses to walk without God's guidance. Salt also represents covenant, meaning God is binding Himself to your journey. He is promising to walk with you, guide you, protect you, and preserve you. He is saying, where you walk, I will be. Where you step, I will lead. Where you move, I will strengthen. God is not sending you alone. He is stepping into the path with you. When God says, put salt in your shoes, He is preparing you for opposition too. Because whenever God gives you an instruction, you can be certain that pressure will arrive to test your obedience. There will be voices telling you the instruction is silly. There will be distractions telling you the journey is too long. There will be obstacles telling you the mountain is too high. There will be people who do not understand your steps because they cannot see what God placed in your shoes. But you must walk anyway. You must step anyway. You must keep moving anyway. Salt in your shoes means you do not stop when the path becomes uncomfortable. You do not stop when the ground becomes uneven. You do not stop when people criticize your pace. You do not stop when the journey takes longer than expected. God is saying, I am not giving you comfort. I am giving you endurance. And endurance is what separates those who dream from those who arrive. Many people have a dream level faith, but not walking level faith. They can imagine the destination, but they cannot handle the steps required to reach it. God is giving you endurance so you do not collapse under responsibility. God is strengthening you so you do not crumble under pressure. God is toughening your spirit so you can carry what He is about to release in your life. Salt in your shoes is also a symbol of identity. God is telling you, do not walk like them. Do not move like them. Do not follow the footsteps of those who compromise, quit, or dilute their purpose. God is giving you a different walk because He has set you apart for a different outcome. Your steps are not common. Your calling is not common. Your journey is not common. So God gives you an uncommon instruction to produce an uncommon result. Salt in your shoes means you are walking with the purity of purpose. Your motives are clean. Your direction is intentional. Your spirit is aligned. You are not wandering. You are not drifting. You are not lost. You are centered, focused, and anchored in God's will. Salt means your walk will influence others. When God fortifies your step, you leave a spiritual imprint everywhere you go. You leave a peace in the places you step into. You leave clarity in the environment you touch. You leave wisdom in the conversations you enter. You leave strength in the hearts you encounter. God is making your walk a testimony. People will say, why do you walk like that? Why are you unshaken in storms? Why are you calm under pressure? Why does nothing break you? And you will say, because God seasoned my steps. God fortified my journey. God strengthened my walk. And this is where the speech builds the prophetic truth. God wants you to grasp. You are entering a season where your footsteps will open doors. Your footsteps will shift atmospheres. Your footsteps will break generational patterns. Your footsteps will trample fear. Your footsteps will reclaim spiritual territory. Your footsteps will create pathways where there were none. Salt in your shoes means God is giving weight to your walk. Your presence will carry authority. Your voice will carry influence. Your decisions will carry impact. When you step into a room, you will not step in lightly. You will step in with presence, purpose, and power because your walk has been seasoned by God. Salt in your shoes means the small steps matter. The daily steps matter. The unseen steps matter. The private steps matter. Because God is watching not just the distance you cover, but the faithfulness in each step you take. Salt in your shoes means God is preparing you for a long journey, not a short sprint. He is building stamina in your spirit. He is building longevity in your faith. He is building discipline in your heart. He is preparing you for blessings that require consistency, responsibility, and endurance. The promise He has for you is not small. The future He has planned for you is not fragile. It is weighty, eternal, and powerful, and it requires a walk that can carry it. Salt in your shoes means you will not be defeated by time. You will not be discouraged by delay. You will not be weakened by waiting. God will preserve your hope. He will protect your vision. He will keep your expectation alive. While others tire during the wait, your spirit will stay strong. Salt in your shoes means God is removing spiritual parasites, people who drain your energy, distract your purpose, or disturb your peace. You will walk away from what weakens you. You will step out of what confuses you. You will move past what has held you back for years. Salt in your shoes means wherever you walk, you bring the presence of God with you. You walk with divine protection. You walk with divine clarity. You walk with divine insight. You walk with divine courage. You walk with divine strength. Your steps are no longer yours. They are guided, guarded, and empowered by God. Salt in your shoes means your past cannot contaminate your future because God has purified your path. You are not walking into the next season with a residue of the old. God has cleansed your direction. He has washed your steps. He has prepared your path. Salt in your shoes means you are ready even if you don't feel ready. When God fortifies your steps, He removes the fear of inadequacy. You no longer walk timidly. You no longer walk questioning your worth. You no longer walk hesitating. God is saying, walk boldly, walk confidently, walk with authority. I have seasoned your steps. Salt in your shoes means God is giving you stubborn faith, the kind of a faith that does not back down, the kind of a faith that does not collapse, the kind of a faith that does not negotiate with fear, the kind of a faith that looks at mountains and says, move. Salt in your shoes means you are stepping into alignment with God's will. And when your steps align with God's plan, nothing, absolutely nothing can prevent you from reaching what He has ordained for you. Salt in your shoes means you are stepping forward with a fortified spirit, a purified heart, and an unbreakable will. You are walking into a future constructed by God's own hands. And when God tells you to put salt in your shoes, it is not merely to strengthen where you walk, it is to transform who you become while walking. Because every step with God is not just motion, it is spiritual molding. It is character refinement. It is internal elevation. God is not only guiding your path, He is enlarging your spirit. Every step taken with salt in your shoes becomes a tool of divine transformation, shaping you into someone who can carry the weight of the destiny that awaits. God is preparing your inner vessel before He releases your outer victories. Salt in your shoes means God is sharpening your discernment. This is the season where you will no longer walk blindly into traps that once caught you. God is opening your eyes to the subtle shifts of the Spirit, the quiet signals, the silent deceptions, the hidden motives. He is teaching you to feel the ground beneath your feet before you commit to the next step. He's teaching you to sense the truth behind someone's smile, the intention behind an opportunity, the spiritual climate behind an environment. God is ensuring you no longer lose your way through naivety. Your footsteps are becoming wise, cautious, intentional, and spiritually alert. And as God pours this discernment into your steps, He's also giving you the courage to walk away from places that no longer carry His presence. Salt in your shoes gives you the boldness to leave behind what drains your spirit, the strength to disconnect from what weakens you, and the clarity to step out of environments that choke your purpose. You will not remain where God's presence is no longer leading you. You will not force yourself into rooms. He is calling you out of. Your spirit will feel the discomfort, the heaviness, the lack of peace, because the salt in your shoes will not allow you to settle where your destiny cannot grow. Salt in your shoes means God is increasing the authority of your footsteps. There is a certain weight that comes upon a person who walks closely with God, an unseen authority, a spiritual presence that cannot be fabricated or faked. When you walk with the weight of God's presence, you do not have to announce yourself. Your spirit announces you. Doors shift when you arrive. Atmospheres transform when you enter. People listen when you speak because there is divine substance behind your words. This is not human confidence. This is God-given authority. And this authority is not loud. It is undeniable. Salt in your shoes means your presence carries influence even when your mouth is silent. It means your character speaks louder than the noise around you. It means your discipline becomes a testimony. It means even your quiet steps are guided by God so deeply that people sense the purity of your walk. When God seasons your steps, you no longer strive to be seen. Your walk exposes the light within you. Salt in your shoes means God is cleansing the path behind you, ensuring that nothing unclean, poisonous, or spiritually toxic follows you into your next chapter. Salt purifies. Salt disinfects. Salt removes decay. God is saying, I am cleansing the trail of your past. The footsteps behind you will no longer carry regret, guilt, shame, or wounds. I am purifying your walk so that the shadows of yesterday do not contaminate the promise of tomorrow. This is the season where God is cutting off the residue of old battles. You are not walking into your next season with the emotional dirt stuck to your souls. God is washing your footsteps clean. Salt in your shoes means God is awakening the warrior inside you, because you cannot reach divine purpose with a fragile spirit. God strengthens your steps because He knows the terrain will not always be smooth. There will be hills that demand resilience, valleys that require faith, storms that test your confidence, paths that seem impossible. But God is saying, I am toughening your walk. I am awakening your spiritual fight. I am empowering you to tread on the things that once overcame you. Where you once feared, you will now step boldly. Where you once hesitated, you will now advance with a conviction. Where you once doubted, you will now walk with unshakable assurance. Salt in your shoes means God is teaching you that your walk itself is warfare. Every step you take in faith destroys chains that try to bind you. Every step you take in obedience breaks cycles that try to repeat. Every step you take in surrender disrupts the plans that darkness try to set against you. Your walk becomes a weapon. Your steps become an act of spiritual defiance. You are not just moving, you are conquering. Salt in your shoes means God is preparing you to carry blessings that require maturity. Because divine blessings do not arrive in fragile hands or unstable steps. God strengthens your walk so you can handle the promotion, manage the responsibility, and sustain the new level. Many desire the blessing but do not have the endurance to sustain its weight. But God is saying, I am preparing your steps so that when I elevate you, you do not collapse under the pressure of greatness. Salt in your shoes means God is giving you patience for the journey, not passivity, but purposeful patience. Patience rooted in knowing that God's timing is flawless. When God seasons your steps, impatience loses its power. You no longer rush out of anxiety, you move deliberately out of trust. You no longer chase what is not yours, you walk toward what God appointed. You no longer push doors open, you allow God to unlock them at the right moment. Salt in your shoes teaches you to cherish the process, not just the promise. Salt in your shoes means your walk is now anchored not by emotion, not by impulse, not by fear, but by God Himself. You walk with a grounded spirit, steady, centered, balanced, unwavering. And when people around you panic, your steps remain aligned. When others lose direction, you remain rooted. When chaos swirls around you, you continue walking with purpose because God has fortified your steps with a peace that cannot be stolen. Salt in your shoes also means God is sharpening your intuition, the spiritual instinct that whispers to your soul, even when the logic cannot explain it. You begin to sense when God is saying go, even when circumstances look unclear. You begin to feel when God is saying wait, even when opportunities seem promising. You begin to recognize when God is saying stop, even when people push you forward. This intuition is not earthly, it is divinely infused into your steps by God Himself. Salt in your shoes means every step you take is protected. You are shielded from unseen dangers, hidden traps, silent attacks, and spiritual ambushes. God goes before you, behind you, above you, and within you. No step is taken alone. No movement is unguarded. No path is unprotected. When you walk with the salt in your shoes, you walk under divine surveillance. Salt in your shoes means your footsteps will leave a legacy. You are not just walking for yourself. You are blazing a trail for generations connected to you. Every step you take in faith becomes an inheritance for those who come after you. Every battle you overcome becomes a victory they won't have to fight. Every mountain you climb becomes a path they can follow. God is making your walk generationally impactful. Salt in your shoes means your journey becomes a message. People will learn by watching your endurance. They will be strengthened by observing your walk. They will be inspired by the passion in your steps, the conviction in your stride, the faith that sustains your movement. Your life becomes a sermon without words because God seasoned your steps. Salt in your shoes means you are stepping into a new identity, not the person shaped by past struggles, but the person shaped by God's present strength. Not the person defined by wounds, but the person defined by divine purpose. Not the person held down by fear, but the person lifted by faith. God is transforming your walk because He is transforming your nature. Salt in your shoes means you are stepping out of a spiritual dryness. Seasons where you felt empty, numb, disconnected, drained, they are ending. God is refreshing your spirit. He is restoring your strength. He is reigniting your inner fire. You will no longer walk with a tired soul. You will walk with a revived spirit. Salt in your shoes means God is renewing your direction. He is correcting the course you lost, restoring the steps you wasted, and realigning your path to His plan. Even if you wandered, God is bringing you back into alignment one step at a time. You will no longer feel lost because your steps are now guided by God's wisdom. Salt in your shoes means God is empowering you to outgrow old versions of yourself. The insecure, you cannot walk in these shoes anymore. The fearful, you cannot fit into this journey anymore. The doubtful, you cannot step into this season anymore. God is evolving you, enlarging you, and elevating you internally so that externally you can walk into new territory with authority. Salt in your shoes means your footsteps will silence the voices of doubt. There are people waiting to see you fail, rooting for you to fall, expecting you to collapse. But God is saying, I will strengthen your steps so powerfully that your walk will silence every voice that spoke against you. Salt in your shoes means God is preparing you for divine surprises, unexpected breakthroughs, quiet miracles, sudden opportunities, hidden blessings. You will step into rooms you never imagined, conversations you never planned, blessings you did not see coming because your walk has been aligned with God's timing. Salt in your shoes means you are unstoppable, not because of your own strength, but because the one guiding your steps never fails. And when God empowers your walk, no force on earth can destroy what He established within you. And when God says, put salt in your shoes, He is not only preparing you for the steps in front of you, He is preparing you for the moments where standing still requires just as much faith as moving forward. Because there will be seasons where God tells you to advance and seasons where God tells you to wait. There will be moments where God pushes you into new territory and moments where God anchors your feet so firmly that nothing can pull you away from the ground that He planted you on. Salt in your shoes means you are prepared for both the obedience to move and the strength to remain. There are places in your journey where God will command you to stand even when everything around you urges you to run. Stand in the storm. Stand in the pressure, stand in the uncertainty, stand when logic cannot explain the situation, stand when circumstances appear against you. And the reason God strengthens your shoes with the salt is so that you will not be moved by the shifting winds of life. Salt-gripped footsteps do not slide under pressure, they cling to purpose with a divine resilience. When God seasons your steps, you do not lose a spiritual footing, even when the ground beneath you trembles. Salt in your shoes means God is preparing you for divine elevation, the kind of elevation that requires more stability in character than visibility in appearance. Before God lifts you, He strengthens you. Before He expands your territory, He solidifies your foundation. Before He increases your influence, He purifies your motives. Salt is the unseen preparation for the steps that will one day be seen by many. God is working on you inwardly so that when He reveals you outwardly, you will not fall under the weight of the assignment. And the reason God insists on salt is because salt represents purity of intention. A spiritual antiseptic that cleanses your walk from ego, selfish ambition, or the desire for human approval. God is saying, I want your step to be clean, not corrupted. I want your motives to be pure, not polluted. I want your journey to be fueled by obedience, not validation. Salt prevents decay, and God is preventing your purpose from spoiling under the influence of pride or distraction. He is cleansing your steps so that everything you do carries the fragrance of sincerity and the essence of truth. Salt in your shoes means your journey will demand courage, a courage that is not loud, not reckless, not impulsive, but deeply anchored in trust. God does not strengthen your steps so that you can run in arrogance. He strengthens them so that you can walk in obedience. He gives you courage so that you will move even when fear whispers lies. He gives you courage so that you will enter the unknown without collapsing. He gives you courage so that when the path darkens, your faith still shines. Courage seasoned by God is not dependent on circumstances, it is dependent on conviction. And conviction is what salt produces. Salt intensifies flavor, and God is intensifying your conviction. He is sharpening your clarity about who you are, what you are called to, and where you are going. No more walking as someone unsure, someone hesitant, someone divided within. God is merging your inner world into alignment so that your steps are unified. No more double-mindedness, no more spiritual fragmentation. Salt binds your steps to the direction God has assigned. Salt in your shoes also means God is lengthening your endurance, not just for the distance of the journey, but for the battles along the way. There will be moments where the road becomes steep, where the path becomes narrow, where the journey demands more strength than you anticipated. But God is giving you endurance that does not collapse at the sight of opposition. Your steps will not falter in adversity. Your spirit will not tire in hardship. Your resolve will not diminish under weight. God is empowering you to outlast everything designed to exhaust you. And it is this endurance that separates those who watch destiny from those who walk into it. Many start strong but quit quickly. Many dream big but break early. Many carry vision but lack the endurance to complete it. But salt in your shoes ensures you do not quit in the middle. You do not break under pressure. You do not stop when the path becomes uncomfortable. You endure because God infused your steps with divine strength. Salt in your shoes means God is teaching you the value of spiritual sensitivity, the ability to detect subtle changes in the atmosphere around you. You will feel when a door is not of God, even if it looks golden. You will sense when a person's intentions are unstable, even if their words sound sweet. You will perceive when God is redirecting your path, even if the signs are faint. This is not paranoia, it is a spiritual sensitivity, a gift that comes from walking closely with God. Salt awakens your feet and God awakens your spirit. Salt in your shoes means your direction is sanctified, meaning God is not allowing you to wander into everything that looks attractive. Attraction is not alignment. Opportunities are not always divine. Open doors are not always God's doors. And God is saying, I will guard your steps from paths that lead to spiritual loss. I will protect you from detours disguised as blessings. I will close the doors that your eyes admire, but your destiny cannot survive. Salt in your shoes ensures you walk where God leads, not where your emotions wander. Salt in your shoes means God is preparing you for environment your older self could not handle. The version of you that existed last season could not survive the elevation God is preparing. God is strengthening your mindset, purifying your heart, and deepening your discipline, because the next level requires a wiser, stronger, more surrendered you. You are being refined because your promise is refined. You are being strengthened because your assignment is heavy. You are being seasoned because your future carries weight. Salt in your shoes means God is developing the capacity of your spirit, enlarging your internal space to handle spiritual responsibilities, emotional weight, and divine revelations. You will begin to carry peace in situations that once overwhelmed you. You will carry clarity in conversations that once confused you. You will carry calmness in storms that once frightened you. Your spirit is expanding, growing, maturing, because God is preparing you to walk in authority.